Just looked at my goals, like where do I want to be in 5 to 10 years from now? At least financially, I had a goal of taking home $1 million profit in a year by the time I'm 30. So I'm 22 now. And I just looked at the different businesses that could get me there. There's thousands of different businesses that can get you to that goal, but it's just like you have to find one that fits you. And at the end of the day, just pick it. So I don't have I was drawn to this or called to the painting industry, but I just figured it just aligned with my goals. And I've watched a few of Eric's videos, just playing around with what am I going to fully commit to. And then I just pulled the trigger and went with it.
All right, everybody. I've got Zach Medin here with me from Medin's Pro Painting. Zach, how you doing today, man?
Good, man. How are you?
I am doing awesome, Zach. And I have been really, really looking forward to this time slot on my calendar to chat with you. You're my first podcast guest, and really cool story, everybody. I know I brought Zach onto the program early on in May, and Zach has accomplished some pretty crazy things in a really short period of time, and that's what we're going to dig into here today. So let's just get into it, Zach. Where are you today? How are things going? How's the business, man?
It's good. Super busy. So I started the program about 8 weeks ago. I didn't even create an LLC or anything before I started. So I was completely fresh into the painting world. Had a little bit of a background in painting. I did house remodeling a while back, but that was only for a year. And since then, I haven't touched the trade since, until obviously 8 weeks ago. So yeah, pretty much brand new in the industry.
Awesome. And let's just get to it. Spoiler alert. We'll dig into the details, but 8 weeks, Zach, what have we accomplished? Because it's kind of crazy what you've done.
About 92K in sales so far. Brought on a project manager, I've tried out 7 crews now, trying to whittle it down to 3 rock star crews that can take all of the jobs that we get. I mean, that's the best overview I've got.
Unbelievable. So you're about to hit 100K. We were just chatting earlier and you said you're just days away from hitting 100K. When you and I first chatted back in May, I think when we were talking about goals and where you want to get to, you had 250, 300, I think 500 was the max. We were I'm a happy guy if that's my business. And here you are 100 grand 2 months into the year, 2 months into even the business, really.
Yeah. It's crazy. Just do what Eric tells you to do. It works.
It works. Awesome, man. That's so good. Well, look, I want to dive into, I have so many questions for you. I want to dive into all of that. Let's bring it all the way back, man. Before the call that we had, just tell people out there, what got you into the painting business? Where were you before? Cause I know you're very entrepreneurial. You had tried some stuff and some had worked, some hadn't. So just paint a bit of a picture, man, of where you were up until the day you decided to commit to starting this business.
Yeah. So right before I decided to start the painting business, I moved from Texas to Minnesota. So it's kind of a big change for me. And I was just I want to start something new. And I just looked at my goals, where do I want to be in 5 to 10 years from now? And at least financially, I had a goal of taking home $1 million profit in a year by the time I'm 30. So I'm 22 now. And I just looked at the different businesses that could get me there. There's thousands of different businesses that can get you to that goal, but it's just you have to find one that fits you. And at the end of the day, just pick it. So I don't have I was drawn to this or called to the painting industry, but I just figured it just aligned with my goals. And I've watched a few of Eric's videos, just playing around with what am I going to fully commit to. And then I just pulled the trigger and went with it.
Unreal. So, I mean, obviously, I think it's fair to say life looks a little different 8 weeks later. What's changed, man? How was life 8 weeks ago before you started this and you thought oh, I'll start a business if I can make some money, great. To where you are now, which frankly is a rocket ship. What was before that and how have things changed?
Yeah. I've gotten busier. Honestly, it's not a whole lot different. I mean, I'm still living in the same house. The path feels a little bit more certain, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I'm all in this, whereas before, in other businesses, there'd be doubt settling in, which is I think pretty normal, but there's no time for that stuff with how things have picked up.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I wish I had a better answer as far as like life changing, but it's also only been like 8 weeks.
I was gonna say it's only been 8 weeks, right? So there's a lot.
Yeah,
I think even just seeing like your raw emotion, man, that says everything to me. Just in terms of like you're soaking this in still. You're building, you're learning, you're on a rocket ship, right? And so it's just keeping up with that. That's awesome, man.
yeah,
So walk us through it, man. Like where are you? Where are things today? So you got on 8 weeks ago into the program. You've hit this like insane milestone. You're about to hit of $100,000. What's got you there? Like what were some of those things early days that you really focused on? What was that experience like kicking this business off? Because I mean, for the folks out there that are watching this, there's a ton of folks out there that want to change their life. That are in places where they don't want to be anymore, but obviously has some uncertainty. It can be really scary, like starting a brand new business, taking all that risk. What did some of those early days look for you from the moment we spoke, from the moment you came on board? And like you said, didn't even have an LLC, didn't have any of that. Like, what did those first couple days look like? I guess, and 8 weeks, not
yeah.
a lot of days. So,
The first week was really just watching all of the videos in the program, getting like the paperwork, the LLC set up, ordering the lawn signs, printing out the flyers. I tried going door to door. I kind of tried everything in the program as far as like 101 marketing, um, flyers, lawn signs, door to door, and just kind of figured out what worked for me. And it ended up actually being Facebook ads.
okay,
And then I started just ramping Facebook ads up where I started at, I think, $25 a day in ads,
okay,
and then ramped it up to a little over 100 before I like just couldn't handle the amount of estimates I was getting on top of, managing the projects.
yeah,
Um, but I think that as far as the early days go, a lot of it was just like watching the videos, attending the webinars, just soaking everything up, and just being okay with not knowing hardly anything. Like I think the biggest word of encouragement I could give somebody like just starting out is like, just start and be okay with not having a clue what you're talking about. I mean, my first estimate I went to, I had no idea what I was doing. It was absolutely miserable.
wow,
After that one, I kind of got a little bit better. And then the second one, didn't get the job, but I learned a little bit better, learned the flow of the conversation. And then the third estimate I did actually landed that job.
yeah,
I was bid like $1,500 higher than the lowest bid. And
okay.
they still like went with me for whatever reason. I've never painted an exterior in my life up until that point. And they're like, I trust this guy to do a good job. And you just got to do it. Like I had no idea what I was doing. I was totally just faking it till I made it.
I love that, man. And like, wow, so $25 a day wasn't a lot. Like even at the peak, you were talking about $100 a day. So like getting off the ground, it wasn't a ton of money. Like that, like skin in the
Yeah.
game there. So there's a lot of opportunity to grow up. Walk me through, Zach, your mindset, man. Like from the moment I spoke to you, you're obviously like a bubbly, high energy, positive guy. But walk me through that mindset where like you start door to door, maybe it doesn't go what you think it's going to be. You spend some money, you do lawn signs. You just got onto this coaching program. Like, money's going out the door. You're trying to do this thing. And then you go do an estimate. It doesn't work. You do a second, you don't get it. Like just walk me through your mindset and like what you did to keep going and keep moving forward.
Yeah. I think the what was really important was beforehand of just like making that commitment to myself of just like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be completely all in. I've in the past had like shiny object syndrome where I'd try to chase multiple opportunities at once, and we all know how that story goes.
Yeah, we
So
sure
it's just
do.
making that commitment to myself of like, I'm just gonna stick with this for at least X amount of years, just give it my all. Obviously that time frame is probably dependent on your personal situation. What can you risk? I feel like I have a really high risk tolerance. So like, joining the program, spending a bunch of money upfront on Facebook ads or lawn signs or what have you. I'm more of just like, let's do it and see what happens. Like the worst that happens, I lose like $1,000. Like money comes and goes. You can always get more, and you just got to keep doing it.
Did you ever doubt like your ability? You mentioned like I didn't really know what I was doing, so it sounds like you were pretty open to learning and trying and failing. Maybe going into it with that mindset of like I don't know what I'm doing. Did that help you like kind of just ease the nerves, allow you to like make some mistakes and not be so like just to be okay with things not working out right away? Like, do you find that that helped?
Yeah, I would say so. I think it's just a fundamental, like a reframe of I'm not failing, I'm learning, if that makes sense, or being okay with failure is
Yeah,
another way to put it.
yeah,
Um, the other thing too is I was not comfortable doing sales at all.
okay,
I was homeschooled until I was in eighth grade. I had like zero social skills whatsoever.
okay.
And going from the most awkward kid you would meet on your average day to like going to somebody's house and selling them on a $10,000 paint job, like I didn't think that I thought it would take a lot longer to learn it than it did.
Yeah.
Um, I thought I'd be practicing sales for years before I would actually close many deals, and now it's just like 4 weeks in, I felt like I learned the basics of it, like enough to close a good amount of jobs.
Yeah, that's so cool. I was homeschooled too for a couple of years, so that's
Oh,
funny.
really?
Couple homeschool guys end up talking to people all day and podcast. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man. So, for those that are listening out there, I think like the big takeaway for me and the inspiring piece, Zach, is like the fact that you just like didn't really let any of that self doubt get in the way or like it sounds like you didn't really like failure wasn't really an option. You were going to see this through. It was going to succeed one way or another. And you were committed to it. So kudos to you, man. That's fantastic. So
yeah,
bring us up to speed a little bit here. You get on board, you try some stuff, some works, some doesn't. And then like, when did it hit, Zach, where you were like, this is real. Like, this is bigger than I maybe thought. This is actually happening. Like at what point? Because we look back at it now, 100K in 8 weeks, man, that's incredible. When did you know I got it?
I don't even know if I know the answer to that question yet.
Has it hit you yet? Yeah. Has it even sunk in yet?
Not really. I don't know. I would say probably after maybe like 4 weeks. My first week was like zero. The next week after that was another zero.
Okay.
The week after that, I'd have to pull up my sheet, but I think it was like 5,000 or 9,000. Closed a couple of jobs, and then the week after that was another zero, and then the week after that was like 15,000. Probably like that week where it's like, oh crap, I just sold like three more jobs, and I have to paint these sometime.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then the next week was another like I think it was 16, and then 17, and then dropped back. I took a step back to manage or get the subs in place, manage the projects, and then the week after that I think was like 25. And now this is where I'm at today. Basically, it was yeah, it just hasn't been that much time, to be honest. I haven't even really fully digested that I'll be painting houses for the next like 5 years.
That's so cool. Like just seeing you process this even, man, like, and even being able to get this spotlight on that, because I think it all happens so quickly, right? Like it's been 8 weeks. You're learning, you're going. What did you do in those 0 weeks, man? Like what kept that momentum going with you, and what kept you like what did you do? How'd you prepare yourself for the day? How'd you organize yourself? Like how'd you focus on what you needed to do to get those results when there's obviously like a million things you can do? You mentioned like shiny object syndrome, starting a new business. There's so many things you could be focusing on.
Yeah,
What did your day to day look like in those 0 weeks where you're pushing and trying to get that momentum going?
yeah. I'm trying to even think back to what exactly I was doing, but it was like wake up, watch some training videos. I went door to door a couple of times. Like I totally failed at door to door. It was so bad. It was kind of just trying a little bit of everything. Like I'd drop lawn signs at night. I would go door to door a couple evenings. I would I tried direct mail for a little bit, like printing out a bunch of letters, hand addressing them, putting the stamps on, sending them out, um, and then recording Facebook ads. Is kind of just like testing the waters, like doing a little bit of everything. And then I got a few jobs through Facebook. I got a couple of jobs from the direct mail. And I got a couple calls from the lawn signs. I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to stop going door to door if I can just pay Zuckerberg another $50 for an estimate. And then flyers, didn't see a good return on those. Like, okay, I'm not going to put more energy into that if it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It was really just testing a lot of stuff, and then also obviously learning a lot. I was
Yeah.
attending all of the webinars at that point, just watching probably like 2 or 3 hours of videos a day in the first few weeks.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So I'm hearing you're just like a sponge, like you were just taking in, sounds like taking in information and learning was like your number one priority, and
Yeah,
then doing action. And then it sounds like the success and the revenue was just a byproduct of exactly that system. Yeah.
yeah,
Gotcha.
100%.
Cool. So we spent a lot of time learning. We got some success. We've hit some momentum. You're coming up on this 100K mark. What's the team looking like? Like what's keeping you busy nowadays? It sounds like you got your marketing figured out. We back to $100 a day where we can handle those estimates again. Like walk me through how you're now structuring the business and kind of growing.
Yeah, so I brought on my soon-to-be wife as a project manager. She's just like she has the personality for it. Like she's super like direct and can be very stern, especially like if subs just have like BS to put up with. Like she's not gonna have it.
Oh,
And she is gonna do so much better than I could at project management. Um, so that's really the team. It's just me and her, and then obviously the subcontractor crews. We're working with three really solid crews, or from what I understand, at least really solid crews. Like I still don't really know what a good crew even looks like. And then probably at some point bringing on like an office manager to take initial calls, um, process a lot of like the contracts, the work orders, things like that. Um, I mean, that's it for the team, though.
yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. Eh?
Yeah,
You mentioned a couple times now how you've like taken a pause or taken a step back to kind of deal with what you've created, and so you weren't kind of just pushing through and pushing through. I think that's a really valuable mindset, and I think for a lot of folks out there, like we're often in this like chicken and egg issue, right? Like, do I do this? I don't have the job, so do I do this? And then I got the jobs, I don't have this. Like, where do I start? What do you have to say to that piece, man? Like when you get to that point where it's overwhelming and there's too much stuff to be done, and how you got to that decision of pause, deal with this and go back to it. Just kind of walk me through that mindset. And like for people out there that are feeling like, I don't know where to start, or I don't know, like, is it this, is it that? How did you approach that? How do you approach that as you continue to grow?
yeah.
A bit about that, man.
It's kind of like a teeter-totter between production and sales. At least that's how Eric describes it in the program, and that's what I've been experiencing on a pretty small scale, to be honest. Of just like, okay, this week I have 15 estimates, and now the next week I have 4 jobs that are starting. I got to figure out how to produce those.
Yeah.
And then I probably like a couple weeks ago I turned off my ads because I couldn't. We were running 5 projects that week. I couldn't handle another 15 estimates and all the project management for that. And then now I brought on Maddie to help me do the project management. Now next week I'm planning on scaling up the ads past $100 a day, so
Yep.
I can take on maybe 20 estimates that week
Yep.
and get even more jobs. And then it's kind of just like fill up my sales calendar, then I fill up the project calendar, and then now I got to figure out how to produce these jobs. And once I can produce them or get the subs lined up for them, then I can go back to filling up my sales calendar. And that's at least how I'm doing it as a one now 2-man show.
Yep.
But as you get the team in place, you can start hopefully maybe building them up in tandem, but we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, shout out to Maddie. And it sounds like she's going to be keeping the production side running really good and putting a little bit of pressure on you to keep that rolling. So that's
Yeah.
so cool that you can build that together. Was that always the plan, Zach, from day one of like making this a bit of like a family business between the two of you? No, tell me about that.
I had no plans actually. I was just like, I'm gonna do this and see what happens. And then it turned out that her job was slowing down. It's pretty seasonal. She used to work at a greenhouse, so like May and June were super busy, and now July like starts to slow down. So she went on a leave of absence just last week to step into project management full time and try it out, see what happens. But yeah, that was not the plan.
plan. There you go. So roll with the punches. For those of you listening, like be malleable. It sounds like just be open to doing whatever the business needs to do. Maybe you did door to door. You didn't want to, you did it. You weren't comfortable with sales. You did it. Didn't plan on bringing on your fiance. You did it. We're kind of figuring it out. That's my big thing, man, is like, you're hustling through it, doing whatever it takes. So now walk me through what Zach and the sales role looks like now. You mentioned earlier, like it just wasn't really your favorite thing to do and you struggled with it. Like how's that come over the last 8 weeks? How's the program helped out? Like how are you working to improve that side of stuff? And how like, just kind of walk me through like what the estimates coming in looks like in terms of like how many are you closing every week type of thing right now?
Sales is something that I'm still getting a lot better at. I'm not very good. I'm just good enough to close about 35% of estimates. Not quite to the 50% mark that I want to be at, but
Right.
It's a lot better than when I started. That's probably like 20% from my first handful.
That's quick growth, man.
Yeah, as far as the program goes, it just helps you structure the conversation. I think that's the biggest thing, is just learning what are the questions to ask. How do you find out what somebody's really looking for, and how can you serve the customer? It's not that complicated. You just need, or at least for me, I found it super helpful to have somebody that's done it a million times to show me kind of what to do.
If you're listening to the podcast, almost every single person that we talk to on the show is someone that we have worked with at Painting Business Pro. If you run a painting company or you're starting a painting company and you are really serious about building an amazing business while having a great lifestyle along the way, that is what we do best. When you work with us, you'll plug in to all of the systems, playbooks, training, and get coaching from me and my team. That's the training, systems, playbooks, and team that runs our currently $40 million portfolio of painting companies. It's the stuff that's working right now. We're actually doing this stuff day in and day out, and we love coaching people and helping people grow. So if you're interested in getting some help and working with us, head over to paintingbusinesspro.com and apply now, and we look forward to talking with you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said you were kind of like attending all the webinars at the beginning and just kind of taking everything in, role playing, going through it. That was helpful.
Yeah. Sales webinar especially.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. I'm happy to hear that, man. So what's in store, man? What's coming up now? Like we've safe to say we've smashed your initial goal of like, bare minimum 250K. What are you guys working on now? Like what has the readjusted goals look like for the year? Where do you want to go now?
I honestly haven't thought of it.
Yeah. You're still so good.
Yeah, I don't have like a specific goal in mind for this year per se, at least not yet.
Yeah.
Pretty soon we'll have to chat about it, but at least 5 years from now I want to be at 5 million in revenue.
Cool. And that'll only put you at 27.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's how's your like personal life and like family relating to this? Because 8 weeks ago you were just 22-year-old Zach. Like if I was your buddy and we're just buddies, now you're running a business, doing 50K a month, on track to hit well over $1 million in a year. Like what's that look like for you, just on the personal side of the fence?
I think it's too early for it to really change much.
Okay.
Yeah.
You surround a lot of folks that are like entrepreneurs or like business owners. Like what are your friends doing? Like, cause this is not the normal activity for a 22-year-old. Let's just put that out. So what does that all look like?
So as far as my friends go, at least the ones that are around me in Minnesota, they're not as entrepreneurial, or a lot of them are like really good at what they do, but don't necessarily run their own businesses. Like I feel like from a friend standpoint, I'm attracted to people that are just like really good at what they do. It's like my best friend is like super nerdy about cars and can answer any question that you have about cars. Or like my soon-to-be wife, she is super nerdy about plants and anything that has to do with the greenhouse. She can answer any question and talk for hours about it. I just like people that are passionate about something. My brother, though, he actually recently started a YouTube channel about like a year and a half ago, and he already crossed, I want to say he's like at 150,000 subscribers already. So he does like AI content, like talking about new AI tools and kind of like what's new with AI. And he actually just got invited by Amazon. They invited him to fly out to their headquarters and do a product launch with them, which is pretty sweet. So like he's taking off, and it's pretty cool to see. But other than that, like not a whole lot of, I guess, like serial entrepreneurs around.
Okay. Okay. So like
Um,
really self-starter. It looks like you just were hungry and you knew what you wanted and you were going to figure it out one way or the other. And here it is. Painting was that vehicle for you.
yeah, I've
Yeah.
tried out a lot of other businesses. After I was done house remodeling 5 years ago, so I did that for about a year. So starting, I'd say 4 years ago, I just tried a bunch of different businesses.
Yeah.
Um, Failed at most of them pretty
Yep.
miserably.
Yep. Hey, that's a big
So
takeaway. It's like, it looks like an overnight success, but the backstory is you've tried a lot of different things.
yeah, it's been honestly a grind. There was one like a 400-day stretch where I like didn't take a break or didn't take a day off doing other businesses and working sometimes 100-hour weeks, like super unsustainable, but just like learning. I always say like I'm learning. I'm not, making money, but I'm learning, and that was like my biggest cope of all time. Just 400 days straight of most of the day just slaving away, making absolutely zero progress, at least on paper.
Yeah.
Um, but through that, I learned different skills. Like I went from not knowing how to talk to somebody to being able to have a conversation, or I learned how to run Facebook ads really well, or how to manage to some degree, manage different people. Just pick things up as you do it, but you kind of just got to get started. Like if I knew the amount of work that it would be to get, even just in the last 4 years, to like learn what I've learned in the last 4 years, if I knew that up front, I probably wouldn't have started. So I kind of just take it one day at a time, and
Sure. That's good
like you said,
advice.
roll the punches.
Yeah. Roll with the punches. So 100-hour weeks, 400 days, like the grind, the grind, the grind. And obviously you're in the thick of it now because as great as the success is, you're just getting started, Zach. Walk me, and then now you've got your future wife involved, and it sounds like you're building like a future together. Walk me through a couple things, like what does your day-to-day look like? Like how many hours are we putting in to get the
Yeah.
business to where it is now between the both of you? What does life look like just in terms of like in the pocket of this grind right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wake up at about 7 to 7:30, and then I usually either have an estimate or a project to go start. And then I don't really fully wrap up until like 7 or 8. So it's like a solid 12, maybe 13, 14-hour day. Um, but like you said, that's just the start. And once Maddie is like fully in her role managing the projects and I can fully, go back to just sales, then that's probably going to be like, 8 or 9 hour days. It's like a pretty normal day. Yeah. I don't want to do like 12-hour days forever.
That's it. I mean, when we chatted, you were trying to build a lifestyle business, like you had shared, like Millionaire by 30, and a business that really didn't require you running it day to day. Is that still the goal? Like now that you're in it and you've learned like how to do the marketing, how to do the sales, and it sounds like you're having a good time. Is that still the goal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, I would like to be at a point where I don't have to run the day to day a few
Mm-hmm.
years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Build up that team that can just crush it without
Yeah.
me having to be involved at all.
Yep.
Sounds awesome.
That's what you're right.
um, yeah, like long term, I want to either have the option to sell the business or hold it as an asset or keep growing it.
Yep.
Yeah, just like those options.
Love it. Love it. You touched base a little bit on like a couple things around like, had you known it was this much work, you probably wouldn't have done it and whatnot. Just for the folks out there that are listening that want to start or thinking about starting or doubting it, what did you learn in the last 8 weeks that you maybe didn't know? Or were there some things that were like harder, some things that were actually easier? Walk me through a couple of those, like those learnings. Again, I know it's a short period of time, but what were some things that weren't what you expected them to be, positive
Yeah.
or negative?
I think the biggest thing is the people skills, like just being comfortable knocking on somebody's door, or as comfortable as you can be.
Yeah.
um, Sales, I mean, going to estimates, going in somebody's home that you've never met before, just like, hey, here for the estimate, can I come in? That's a little strange the first couple of times. um, I think that's the biggest thing that I had to learn to get better at, and obviously still definitely learning that one. um, the other thing is just like the value of mentorship. Like I've had mentors in the past and coaches of some sorts, but it just really speeds up the process. Like any question you have, you can get it answered pretty quickly. Um, just knowing the path and just following the path, like it's laid out in front of you. You got no excuses but to just do it.
No excuses but to do it. I like that. It I oftentimes describe it to people as like painting with numbers, basically, right? It's like the steps are there, just show up, put the work in, but it's not always linear. And I think that's my biggest takeaway from chatting with you is you're gonna have up weeks, you're gonna have down weeks, you're gonna have sales that get done, sales that don't get done, but it's like having that right mindset is what I'm really taking away from you, Zach. So cool, man. That's fantastic. Um, Anything else that you want to share with like people that are out there when it comes to like, again, on the fence, not really sure if they're capable of doing this, like sales, like you said, like I'm not a social person, I don't have these skills, why am I going into people's houses? Like, how did you overcome that, and like what do you have to say to folks that are out there doubting themselves?
I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Like you embarrass yourself in front of a stranger you've never met before. Like, who cares?
I love that. I absolutely love that. That's awesome, man. Where the next 12 months looks like. So you moved on to the mastery program now. And the main goal is now putting the team together, right? So you've covered off the marketing side, you've got the sales stuff, we've got the team rolling. And I know you mentioned that you haven't really started planning it all out now, but what's kind of cooking for you next? Like, where do you see this going? You had mentioned that when you're 30, you wanted to be a millionaire. I think it's fair to say that you probably need to revisit that goal because you're going to hit that before 30. So what does that look like?
Yeah. I think just like you said, like putting together the team, also trying to not build too quickly. I have that personality, I guess, when building a business, I just try to go super quick. And like if
Yep.
I'm given a task that might take 2 weeks to do, or I could do it over 2 weeks, I might just do it in a day. Just go super quick. Like all of the training videos in the program, for example, I watched in I think like 2.5 days.
Okay.
I just like sat down and
That's the
watched.
old school kid in you, Zach.
Right. So I need to, I think, pump the brakes to some extent on just like really honing in the operation before trying to bring on more people. Because the last thing you want to do is build a house of cards that just crumbles. So really it's just laying the foundation. And I was just in Hunter's webinar earlier today, and he was basically telling that exact thing to somebody else of just like, you just got to lay the foundation. The first like 6 to 12 months, you just need to get a solid base before you start scaling. So I don't think I'm trying to like take it to the moon in 12 months.
Sure. I mean, if it happens, it happens because here we are. But that's a great attitude to have because I think it's easy to get tempted by like all this money
Yeah.
coming in, just go, right? How are you managing that? The coaching is helping you. How are you staying grounded though, man? Like there's $100,000 in your bank account that's come and gone that wasn't there 8 weeks ago. How are you kind of keeping even keel?
I don't know. I think I'm just like I'm a pretty even keel guy. The money isn't necessarily like a big change for me.
Mm.
I mean, a lot of the projects are still like booked out, so I haven't even produced half of them yet. So I don't know. I don't really have a great answer for that, to be honest.
That's fair. Did you, I know you mentioned you tried like a few things before, but you don't come from like a formal business background or anything, right?
Nothing formal.
Nothing formal. So
Just
what
grinding
was
it out.
yeah, fake it before you till you make it, like you said, right? What was that learning curve like to be able to like, be tracking your numbers on a weekly basis, understanding like net profit, gross profit, setting up your systems, your processes, production? That's a lot. what was the learning curve like, and how did you manage it all? How do you continue to manage it? And then now you're training Maddie on how to do it, something you just learned over the last few weeks. How's that, man? How's that? That seems like a lot.
Honestly, I don't know. I'm
Batman,
kind of
Zach.
just taking it one step at a time.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of like, I guess the general business sense of like tracking your numbers, learning how to train somebody. A lot of that just like carries over from business to business.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my first couple of years trying things out, I learned like, okay, I should probably track where the money's going, or I realize at the end of the month I got nothing left. It took me a couple of years to learn that. And then from like a marketing standpoint, like tracking how many signs am I dropping to how many calls versus how many booked jobs to what's my cost per the sign to how many dollars in revenue do I book? Like, is that worth it? Like all of that kind of I've learned from different experiences. So a lot of that is like applicable. So I think that's a part of why maybe I've caught on relatively quick just because I've done it before.
Cool.
But it took me years to get to that point.
Okay, but would you say that that's like being a big key to like your kind of quick success is making sure those foundational things, as you mentioned, that Hunter told you was locked in and there for you? Like that's been a pretty religious thing for you?
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It has to be.
That's awesome. You mentioned earlier your sales rates was about 25, 30, just ballpark, like, and we talk about revenue, but we obviously want to build a healthy business. Like where are you sitting in terms of like your net right now?
Net, that's something I could definitely improve on. I want to say it's like somewhere between 55 and 60% is going to labor and materials right now. The other 40 to 45%, that's the gross profit. Marketing expense is about 8%. That's primarily through Facebook ads. There's not really any other overhead other than insurance. So I want to
Yep.
say it's roughly 30 to 35% like net off of that like 92K that's booked.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a healthy business, Zach, but you're not happy with that. You want more. He's gonna keep grinding those numbers out. That is impressive, Zach. That's a healthy business in a short period of time. Where it sounds like we made some mistakes. We learned a lot. We won a lot as well, but that's nothing to snuff your nose at, man. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome, dude. Cool, Zach. Well, that's all I really got, dude. Anything else that you kind of wanted to go over that I didn't ask you about that kind of like, as we went through the conversation, you're like, yeah, that one time that happened or this happened. Anything you want to cover at all, Zach?
I think it's just really getting in the mindset of just got to do it. Like just jump in and do it. I think the thing that saved me the most is I take the frame of like, what's the worst that could happen? And then like the worst case scenario, like say I go out of business tomorrow. So what? Like I'll just start again.
Yep.
And I think it's one thing to say, but I feel like I've actually like truly lived that for a while now.
Yeah.
And it's just like really being willing to go all in and being okay with the consequences.
Yep.
If something doesn't work out. Like I know one of my buddies, he's like super talented at what he does, but has been hesitant for the last 5, 6, or 7 years to start his own thing just because there's so much unknown and he just can't get over that. I've tried like just talking to him about it, just like, dude, you kind of just got to do it. Like you got to be okay with the consequences. And like a lot of people, they hold on to the risk of like, I don't want to lose what I've got. When in reality, it's like a lot of times we have a lot less than we think. Or what we do have, we can get back pretty quickly, at least materially. Obviously not relationships, but like materially, like, I don't know, say you're in a good apartment or you have a house or a nice car or something. And if something goes south, you lose that thing. That can always be earned back in the future.
That's a great mindset, Zach. I really got that vibe from you, man, in terms of like, your energy is just like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to succeed. And I think like your definition of success seems to have like really evolved and changed, where like success was like just learning knowledge, being able to like get in and have a conversation with someone at their doorstep was that probably felt like a win at one point. Like didn't need to get the actual job, but I did it. I talked to them. I went into their house. I gave the estimate. I did it. Like that's something new. That's a win. Yeah.
It's a small win.
Yeah.
I'll be so real. My first time door knocking, I told myself I'd do it for 3 hours, and I did it for 2.5 hours. So like I almost stayed true to my word. And then the next time I was going to go the next afternoon, I found a neighborhood, picked it out, drove there, sat in my car for 10 minutes. And then I was like, I'm not doing this. And I drove back home.
Okay.
Like,
that's super important, man. Like those are going to happen those days, right?
yeah. I mean, that felt, I don't know. That one hurt.
So walk me through that. Like you went there, you didn't do it. What are you telling yourself on the drive home? And like, how did you get back on the horse and try again? Or what did you like? What was that mindset? Because that sounds like it can be a pretty defeating mindset. How'd you overcome that?
Maybe I haven't.
Okay. So you're just pushing through it. Sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, I got there, and then based on my first time doing door to door, like once I got started, the first couple doors were pretty nerve wracking, but after that, it's just like got used to it. And then at the end of it, I'm like, yeah, that sucked. I don't want to do that again. Like people look at you like you're the scum of the earth, or just like people mowing their lawns, and you like go walk up to them to say hi, how's it going, and they don't even look up at you. It's like, damn. Yep. So I just didn't want to do that again. And I just talked myself out of it. I'm like, I could just get leads another way. You know, I could drop more lawn signs. I could do more Facebook ads. Why do I have to do this?
Well,
and I just talked myself out of it.
Every single time.
I did it one other time, but I did it with a buddy. So it made it a lot easier. If you can go door knocking with somebody else and make it like a competition, I would have knocked way more doors.
Well, all right. So he's a competitive guy. Awesome. Funny. So I cut my teeth in sales door to door too. So it's funny. Like that's another thing. So homeschooled, we had like moved, states, provinces, and the school I'd gone to like didn't have intake at the time. So it was like homeschool. And I learned the same thing, was like, oh, I can finish like a whole semester of stuff in like a month. So why am I going to go back to school? And like we had just moved, don't care to make friends, like just rip through it. And that was one of my first jobs. Once I got through, I think I was like 16 or 17. It was a shady Craigslist ad I responded to. And it was door to door, like energy sales, like trying to get people to switch like their cable or trying to get them to switch their energy provider. And I can resonate with you, man, when you say like you knock on that door and you're all ready to go like a golden retriever. They don't want you on their doorstep, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Go ahead.
I was going to say door to door is just a crazy game. Like the guys that are good at it are so good.
Those solar guys are crazy, hey? Like when I don't know if you've seen them, like especially on social media or whatever, like all weather, all times, they're getting yelled at, things thrown at them, and they're just smiling, moving on. Like,
yeah,
you got built different. Are you doing any door to door at all still? Whether it's yourself or with others, are you thinking about it in the future and how that might work? What's the take on that in your marketing strategy now?
My take on it is I'm going to just keep doing what works, being Facebook ads, just like scale that as much as I can until it crosses the 10% marketing spend. You want to, kind of like what Eric says, keep it below 10%. Open to doing it in the future. It's just not what's like doing the best for me. So why try to add it in, at least now?
Yeah.
Probably do it in the future, but I'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, there. Maybe hire someone else to do it rather than you get out there yourself, right? And you learned Facebook ads like from scratch, man? Like you didn't have experience. You mentioned earlier, like learning the Facebook ads, recording the ads yourself. Like what was your knowledge coming into this as far as like using Facebook as a lead generator or like using various tools and channels as lead generation?
Yeah, I actually had a relatively, I'll say extensive, but it was really only like a year and a half experience doing Facebook ads. One of the previous businesses that I had tried out was a marketing agency. So we would run Facebook ads for chiropractors and then coach them up on the sales process once they got the patients in the door. So I was running Facebook ads for probably 50 different chiropractors, and then also doing an e-commerce product of my own, scaling my own campaigns to like $2,200 a day at one point over like the
Wow.
Black Friday weekend.
Okay.
So I've spent quite a bit of my own money on Facebook ads in the past.
Yeah.
And then obviously with that, you learn how to record a video, set up the campaigns, set up the targeting, all that fun stuff.
Yep.
I learned that in the process. I also did some like organic Instagram content for another business.
Okay.
So I learned how to be on video, how to edit them, like very rudimentary, but do it enough to get views. So it's kind of just like combining the basics of all those little skills together into one, Facebook ad campaign for painting now is what led it to be somewhat successful for Facebook ads as far as they go. But a lot of the actual ads is relatively straightforward. It's actually what happens after the ads takes the most skill of, can you call them right away and actually have a good initial call, be super prompt and respond quickly. It's simple but hard to do.
Gotcha. So you found that the post ad sort of process was like your secret sauce, if you will, or that was like that's what made it really work for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you dial up a lead within 5 minutes, you almost book every single one of them on an estimate.
Okay. So to those of you listening, speed to lead, we hear that everywhere, and here it is straight from the horse's mouth. You heard Zach say it here. Call them quick. Gotcha. So we figured that out early. We stuck to that like religiously type of thing. So how do you manage that? Like you're out in the day, you're doing estimates, you're training Maddie, you're doing whatever. How do you manage that? Like a lead comes in, kind of walk me through how you organize yourself.
Now I just call them as soon as I can. Like in the earlier days when I was just sitting around watching training videos, a lead comes in, and pausing the video and giving them a call. Now it's like if I'm in the middle of an estimate talking to a customer, I'm not going to be like, oh, got to call this lead that came in.
Totally. Yeah.
I'll usually crunch the numbers or take the measurements, go back in my car while I'm using the spreadsheets to put up the estimate, and I'll call them while I'm doing that, or basically just as soon as I can.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. Zach, is a pleasure, man.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying the show, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a quick review for the podcast and what you gotten out of it. It helps our show reach more people and inspire more people. Thank you so much.